So
well, you knew a lot of the faces. You knew Builder Bomb and Lenny McLean, didn't you?
yeah, yeah. I used to train with Lenny McLean. We used to go over to a place called Slim Jim's, of all places. I don't know why we went there. It's both fat as pigs. The thing is, you talk about these characters like Builder Bomb. Out of everyone, I would say all these people who were mentioned, I think, I would say he was the real deal.
The best.
Yeah.
And I think that.
I'll tell you the reason why.
For body shots, we can obviously go.
Help.
Hi everyone, so really happy today to have a special guest, man of many talents, not only acting in EastEnders, you were also in Love, Honour and Obey, Afterlife, Mickey the Gypsy in Afterlife. Yeah. He's been a comedian, renowned comedian, a boxer as well, back in the day, and you were a hairdresser as well, weren't you?
I'd just try anything, really.
Yeah.
And now I've had this bucket of coffee. I might try something else.
Yeah, they're big cups, aren't they?
I'll tell you what, this is the biggest cup of coffee I've ever had in my life. We've had to stir it with a shovel. So I said, he come and he said, you want a cup of coffee? I said, yeah. How many spoons you want? I said, well, just normal. Look, anyway, it's all right. I'm just completely out of my nut on coffee.
Well, listen, thanks for coming up, mate. Ricky's on the way back home to Scotland, popped in to see me.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd get a little interview. So can we go back to East London, where you were first brought up, and how you got into all these different variety of stuff you do?
Well, I had a bit of a weird upbringing. I lived a lot with my nan and granddad, to be honest, who was rag and bone people. And they used to keep the horse in the passage sometimes. You know, my granddad, he never paid the stables. And so we used to come in and out the front window.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a nutty stuff. My mum was an hairdresser and my stepfather was an armed robber. So my nut was all over the shop.
Yeah.
And as I grew up, I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I didn't know if I was supposed to do robberies or cut someone's hair. I was all over it. So I topped up I kept getting in fights and out of school. And I ended up going down West Ham boxing gym, becoming a boxer.
Good boxing gym. Billy, who came from there, the heavyweight in the 50s.
Oh, Billy Walker.
Billy Walker.
Yeah, it's a famous boxing gym. It's a lot of, the trainers there was like Jimmy Tibbs at the time.
Did Jimmy train you?
Jimmy did train me. He used to tell me off because I wasn't dedicated. I wouldn't train. I just wanted to get in there and have a fight. Yeah. And times I remember he went mad at me once in the gym. What's the matter with you? He's calmed down now because he'd become born again Christian, but he was like crackerjack then. What are you doing? I thought, what have I done wrong? And he went, you're wasted talent. You should have done this and that. But
he's a big face as well in London, wasn't he?
Yeah, we're very close, like our family and their family. They're really nice people. Yeah. Like a lot of people from around there, a lot of characters and a lot of people. You imagine all these faces to be, walking about, looking at people like they're tough, and a lot of them are just really funny. Yeah. Crackers in a good way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just funny. And so
well, you knew a lot of the faces. You knew Builder Bomb and Lenny McLean, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I used to train with Lenny McLean. We used to go over to a place called Slim Jim's, of all places. I don't know why we went there. It's both fat as pigs. Lenny was a larger than life character. How are you, son? You all right? He's like one of them. And it was a sort of bodybuilder's gym. Load of them geezers walking about with big muscles and all that. Yeah. And he used to have a little format where he'd come in, Lenny, he'd have a mug of tea, jacket potato, big jacket. He always had to be the biggest one. I think the geezer used to shit himself. I mean, I don't know where he used to get these potatoes. He must have grew them special. The biggest potatoes I've ever seen. He'd have a big jacket potato, mug of tea, and a roll up, and then train. And what we used to do is go on the heavy bag for about an hour, him on one side, me on the other. And he was just a really like funny character.
Yeah.
You know, he was just a
Yeah, I heard he was very funny in that, and
very funny. And
intimidating man when he kicked off.
Oh, out of all the people, I suppose he was the most intimidating.
That you've seen.
His presence was very, very intimidating.
The look of him, he looked like granite.
But again, on his own, in the right company, where he felt comfortable, just a funny bloke.
Yeah.
Like really make you laugh, you know. And a lot of people say, oh, he was a bully and all that. And perhaps some circumstances he might have been bullyish, but I always class a bully as someone who chooses their targets.
Yeah.
You know, if to find out a little bit about yourself, if you're going along in a car and someone does something wrong, before you have road rage, do you weigh up who's in that car? Even if it's a split second, or do you give it to them, whoever they are?
Yeah.
And
I know what you mean.
So you know,
Lenny would fight a gang of people by himself.
So Lenny would go in front 5 or 6 people
on his own.
On his own.
That's why I always found the bully thing to be diff. I thought he was the anti-bully.
Yeah.
Whereas he would fight a gang.
Yeah. You know, and and I suppose what it was with him, he had a very big press. He was a big lump anyway, super strong, very. You know, how are you? Isn't it nice? And all, you know, there's a little bit of buller, in there actually. There's a little touch of buller in it. But no, and we used to have some good laughs, and I used to meet him on a regular basis. You know, and then I topped up. Like I said, I become an hairdresser as well, which was a bit bit confusing because I was boxing at the time. I used to get
and a hairdresser.
Yeah, I used to get muddled up. I used to have people come in my shop and I'd cut their head and I'd be sparring them out the back. You know, if you was a fighter, I wouldn't charge you nothing for your hair, but you'd have to spar them out in the yard after. But it was, you know, there was some good. It was a buzzing shop. I was in Canning Town.
Talking about that shop.
Yeah.
Wasn't there? Haven't you got a story about a notorious name an exclusive story?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So there's only a few people know about this. So years ago, above my hairdressing shop, there was 2 floors of like rooms and stuff like that. And a mate of mine, good mate of mine, called Paul Edmonds, he'd just come out of prison. Paul was like a live wire. He's not with us no more, but he was typical one of them people we was talking about earlier on, like loud, probably ADHD. Everyone's got a syndrome nowadays, but this was before syndromes was about. And he was just like a live wire, completely crackers, but in a good way. Anyway, he got out of prison and I'd done what you're supposed to do around my way. I said, look, there's a flat up there. Just stay up there, Paul, till you get yourself straight. I don't want nothing for it. Just stay there, and when you get going, you get going. Oh, lovely, Rick, that's lovely, and all that. And Paul was always trying to get things going. I remember he was trying to invent things at the time. He invented this thing that rolls a fag up or something, like always into something. And he'd have like unofficial fights, and you know, he could hold his hands up.
Some shows, didn't he?
Yeah, and he had some himself, you know, and he had some notorious street fights. I think there was an old sort of face from around my way called Alan Castile. I'm not sure with Roy Lane as well, maybe Alan Castile. I know they had a fight that went on for about half an hour.
Proper.
Like a proper, you know, straight up. And he was lively, Paul.
Yeah.
No one, but he used to make me laugh. Anyway, he was staying up the room there, and we was doing a little bit of training together and stuff like that. And all of a sudden one day, the shop's right buzzing, we're all busy. I used to have like music blaring out, old beer barrels. It was like a junk shop in there, old 2 and 6 till. I think because I was no good at cutting hair, I just tried to make everything look all right. Yeah. And no, I was all right. I could cut hair. I didn't look like an hairdresser, but you can imagine, I never got no complaints. No. They said, yeah, that's lovely, all their hair's sticking up. Anyway, he come in one day, Paul, with this fella. Geezer looks an handful, like big moustache like that, and when people didn't have moustaches, you know, and standing there like that. So Paul said to me, Rick, I'm cutting someone's hair. I said, all right, he said, this is Mickey. I said, hello mate, how you doing? Yes, lovely to see you, lovely to see you. I said, all right, lovely. Yeah, he went, and Paul was laughing and all that. I come over, shook his hand, seemed like a nice fella, so carried on cutting the hair. Paul says to me, Rick, we're going to do a charity fight, boxing match. I think it was in the Astor Club, which is old Connie Whitehead's.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still about, Connie Whitehead.
He was in Quaidwin's family.
Yeah, another fellow, nice fellow, and he was just a few doors along. He said, we're going to do a charity boxing match thing. He said, would you fight Mickey? So I'm in the shot, everyone's looking round, like he's sort of put it on me, you know what I mean, while I'm cutting here. So I said, like you do as a fighter, you're never going to back down.
No.
So I said to the fella, are you a fighter, mate? He said, no. Like that. So I said, all right, and Paul Edmonds said to me, he's out on licence, you know. His thing, he said he's just done an 8 or something like that. He said he's a right double handful and things. So I said, it doesn't matter. But have you boxed? He said no. He said no. So I said, right. I said, no disrespects to you. I said, but the likelihood is I'd knock you out straight away. I said, I'm not going to get no medals for doing it. Yeah. You're out on licence, you know, you're the thing. And I said, and it's not going to be good for you either. It ain't going to look good for you. I said, you're better off fighting someone else who's never boxed, who's fight. And I said, you know, because you know what it's like. No matter how tough someone is in the street or whatever, if someone's got their hands down there or whatever, it's like an open top, mate. You know, maybe I'll get it wrong, but that's just the
majority
thing. It is. Anyway, the geezer went to me, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And Paul Evans looked at me like that, and I thought, like, he's a bit of an eccentric, but I liked him. Because I thought, you know what, he's got lovely manners. We shook hands, and they went to go out. And I said, Paul, can I just see you a minute? They said, yeah. So I pulled him in the passage. I had a little passage bit aside. I said, Paul, don't ever do that to me again. I said, you've put it right on me in there. I said, I feel like I've embarrassed that man a little bit. I said, and there's no need for it. He obviously wasn't scared because his reaction, he never said, oh, all right, thanks, mate. You know, it was like, thank you very much for giving me the advice, right? I said, but you've put me in a really awkward situation. I feel horrible what I've just done there. And he said, you're right, Rick. He said, I didn't think. He said, I shouldn't have done it. I said, you should have just pulled me on my own and said you want to fight him. And I would have said, as he boxes, you know, what, you know, and we could have just had that. He said, no, you're right. Anyway, he left, right? At that time, a little while before that, I had a bulldog. I used to live in Custom House on the Freemasons Road. Notorious road, by the way. A lot of people come out of that area. And I had a bulldog. This is in the 80s I'm talking about. And bulldogs wasn't about then. They'd sort of fizzled out to hardly anything. You know, if you went anywhere, people wanted to stop and take a picture and all of that. That's what I used to do, have a little mooch around Covent Garden and that. All Japanese people take a picture with the bulldog. And this bulldog was named Bronson. And what he'd done, he was a bit into bred, I think, the dog, so he was a little bit aggressive anyway. But where I lived in a place called Ethel Road, which sort of backed onto Freemasons Road, Custom House. And all the young fellas, like little gangs of kids and that, used to kick the back fence. And then Bronson started diving over and getting them. And in the end, he got out of hand. I was trying to put fences up and he was leaping over them. He looked like a block of flats at that night. Black Mike, he wasn't working, right? He was just getting over and getting people, and I kept turning up at Newham General Hospital with people limping, you know, like their leg bleed. I was giving like 10 quid or a score for their jeans or something. And the woman in Newham General, in the A&E, got to know me, like the head nurse, sister or whatever she was. I used to bring someone in limping like that, all claret coming out their knee, and she used to go, tetanus. You know, she knows the sport, and then like you see the people, because I'd be saying it was the first time it's ever happened.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? She go tetanus, give him a tetanus. So I'll give him the score at the jeans and go home. So people got to know about Bronson.
Yeah.
Around that little area, people, you know, people would have a little row about something, and if someone got a bit bouncy or a bit leery, they go, "Who do you think you are, Bronson?"
Yeah.
You know, because he had a bit of a rep.
Yeah.
And I love that dog to death. I like dogs better than people anyway.
Yeah.
But so everyone knew about him. Paul Edmonds comes back to me shop. He said, "Rick," he went, "we can't really use Mickey's real name." He said, "because he's out on licence." He said, "He like your dog, Rick." He said, "He won't suffer anyone's taking the Mickey." He said he'll take him. He said, you know, he said he smashed a granny out of him. I said, "Well, what are you saying?" He went, "Can I call him Bronson?" Like, I think he's come to ask me because I've told him about the other thing. He wants to ask me every little thing. I said, "Well, yeah, of course you can. You want to call him Bronson? Call him Bronson.
Yeah.
You know, see if it. Make sure he likes the name." So, about 10 minutes later, he comes back. He goes, "Rick," he said, "he's calling himself Charles Bronson." He said, "I think he thinks I mean the actor." He said he's called. I said, "Well, let him call himself Charles Bronson. What difference does it make? As long as he don't get in trouble." So, Charles Bronson was named after my bulldog, right? And
that's amazing.
That's an absolute true story.
That's amazing.
And I wouldn't say it if it wasn't right. And I always wondered, did Charles Bronson know that name come from my dog? Did Paul say to him, you know, there's this dog and you'll like him, you'll really like him, you know, he won't suffer no nonsense, and you know, and that's no
disrespect.
No disrespect whatsoever. In fact, it's a big compliment. I love that dog more.
He would love that, I think.
It was my first. And being a bulldog, it's a great.
And it had a big reputation.
They've got the best reputation.
Best rep. So
that's
that is an exclusive that we've got there from.
Hardly anyone knows that. You know, funny enough, I was speaking about that very story the other day to Billy Williams, who sold Bill the Bomb's brother, Johnny, who's a very close friend of mine. And he said, "Yeah, Rick," because he knows about it.
Yeah.
He said, I wonder if he does. When the film come out, you know Bronson the film.
Yeah.
You was in that, wasn't you?
A tiny bit.
But you was in it.
I'm in it. Yeah. My name's in the credits, but you can't see me in it.
As time goes on, you just got to say
I'm in it.
Yeah, so I was the main one.
I was. Yeah.
Yeah, I was Bronson. So when that come out, I thought, I wonder if that little story's going to come out, but obviously it never. So he didn't know. And I remember I had a meet about a Roy Shaw film years after with Joey Pyle, old Joey Pyle. It was a lovely man.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was a really, really nice, respectful.
Classy.
Class. You know, and had a good head on his shoulders as well. And we had a meet, and I think he knew about the story because if I remember rightly, he was talking about it. And he wanted to know a bit more, and I said, yeah, and I thought, oh, maybe he does, and he gave me a little drawing that Charlie had done, a little one of these sort of, it was like a face but an elephant sort of.
Yeah, his artwork.
Oh, his artwork's amazing.
It's good. It's an insight into
And it is. It's like it's an amazing thing, and I think here's another thing. I think they should definitely let him out.
I think they should, yeah. I mean, we'll find out on the 24th, I think.
Yeah.
He apparently, he's disowned that George Banbury fella now. He's been cut off.
Yeah.
Because that documentary didn't do any favours for him. Did you see that?
I haven't seen the documentary.
It didn't do many favours where they cut and edited it.
I've heard about
it. And they kept in the negative sort of comments, I think. Yeah. Some positives in there, but yeah. He should be out. He's done for almost 50 years. He's 70 years old.
That's crazy, you know, and it's crazy. And he went in for sort of not a massive offence, not not hurting anyone, especially like not hurting kids, not hurting women, not and my experience, that little bit of experience I had with him, and I see him a few times after that when he was around Canning Town. I saw him a couple of times after that, but my experience with him, he was an eccentric. He was a bit nutty in that nice way, what I said, which I like people like. Normal people bore me anyway.
He's very funny.
I only pop round here because I think you're crackers. And I knew I was going to get a bucket of coffee, right? But he had, look, if he was mad, if he was like completely out of touch with everything, he wouldn't be saying to me, thank you very much, thank you very much. He would have attacked me on spec, that's what he was like. I do think you need a bit of help.
He will need gradual reintroduction. To become part of after 50 years.
I agree, but instead of thinking about just keeping him locked away, give him that help. And I think, for me, even way before now, do a day release, even if he's got to be someone, let him see his mum. If his mum's really old, let him see his mum, treat him like a person.
He's done 50 years, his mum's suffered through it all, bless her, and his family, but it's about time.
And the world's changed, Matt, hasn't it?
Totally changed, mate.
The world's changed, when he was out, people did say please and thank you a lot more. There was a lot more manners, if he
how's he going to deal with the...
That's what I mean, the rudeness. If he walks in a shop, buys something, likely someone's going to have their phone up by their ear while they're talking to someone without even looking at him, and if he gives them a stiff backhander, he's back in. He's back inside.
That's what I worry about. Or harassment because of his reputation. And it's so noticeable. It's the harassment of people coming up to him and I don't know, crowds or that social side of it.
Oh, and he did win that fight, by the way. He had a fight with someone.
That was the one on video, was it?
Probably was. I haven't seen it, but he
won the fight.
He went and won the fight, and I remember the
gun fell on the floor in the ring.
Couple. I think so.
That one?
Well, it's Canning Town. That's like standing. That was probably the referee's gun.
So Canning Town, obviously, Bill the Bomb, legendary fighter from Canning Town. And you knew Bill and all the family, didn't you?
Yeah. Actually, what it is with all these faces, like Bill was like a good friend, I never knew him from when we was young. I'm actually very close friends with his brother Johnny, and all the family. I mean, all the family can look after themselves. I even knew Bill's mum. She was lovely. She made the best bread pudding ever. I love bread pudding. And she was really funny in her own right, But the thing is, you talk about these characters like Bill the Bomb. Out of everyone, I would say all these people who were mentioned, I would say he was the real deal,
the best.
And
I think that.
I'll tell you the reason why. He was completely fearless. And when I spoke about weighing up, he was completely fearless. And you hear of these people, if things get changed, someone will knock someone out in a pub, and by the time it gets to next Friday, he picked the chandelier up and threw him through the window and he was still holding it and all. It's a complete load of nonsense. The things get exaggerated, whereas with Bill, it like 3 or 4 would go dink, 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 and they're all asleep. And it meant nothing to him because it was so normal. But again, Bill was one of them characters. What people don't talk about when they talk about Bill the Bomb, he was really funny. Really funny. I mean, a proper, really charismatic. Like nutty, turn up with a big hat on, walking like the door smash open, and it'd be in a quiet nightclub in the middle of nowhere. The door smash open, and Bill walks in. Everybody go like, here he is. And he, and people, a lot of the big faces loved him. Not just because he was a powerhouse, but he was a big character, And he sort of threw his boxing career away, really. And the real reason he came back from America, and I was speaking to Johnny the other night, he came back to America because his dad died.
That's it.
And his dad was such a well-respected man you know, clean living, well respected man, and he was the only person in the world Bill was frightened of.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a known thing,
Respect
if
for his
he had a lot of respect for his dad. If his dad told him, and I think he sort of went more off the rails after he passed, and he didn't do what he's supposed to do, and didn't achieve. You know, he was really well thought of. He was a bit small for an heavyweight.
Yeah.
On the smaller side for an heavyweight.
He was about 6 foot, wasn't he? About 15, 16.
He wasn't. He wasn't. Unlike your sort of stamp. He was your sort of stamp. Oh. So on the smaller side.
But them smaller ones are quicker.
Yeah,
that's
maybe a slightly small. But he could. He just had a really cracking punch. And as you know, sometimes it don't. Both way round. Sometimes it don't translate from the ring to the street, but you know, Bill could do it any way you like, and you know, you could drive along, and I remember once someone saying to me once they was driving along at Stratford, and he was like handcuffed to a railing, and there was like 5-old Bill completely asleep, and it made me laugh because you hear things like that and you think, oh, that's a load of nonsense. But with him, you actually, I've seen so many people go, I'm frightened of the bomb, I'm doing and all that, and you think, well, yeah, you wait till I see him, and I'll tell him, and all of a sudden, bang, doors comes open, he's in there with a big hat, and they're going, how you doing, Bill? You all right? Do you want to go? Can I get you? You know, you see him completely melt, crumble. Yeah. And he proper, you know, when I'm going to do my own little channel. Like I wanted to come on here, my channel to
promote your upcoming.
Well, not only to promote. I wanted to come as a mate, and also I wanted a bucket of coffee. Go on.
That's to promote your upcoming YouTube channel.
Yeah, so I don't even know what I'm going to call it yet, but I've got loads of sort of true stories, Matt, and you know, and you're my mate, and I love the way, I love your honesty.
Thank you, mate.
That's why I like, you know, you don't try and give it, you know, tough guy bit. You're just honest, and you think, you know, and you are. You know,
thank you, mate. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you coming up.
Right. Can I have another bucket of coffee? Cheers, mate. No, it's lovely to see you. But so, you know, with Bill, what I would say is you hear all these stories about different people, and but out of everyone, I would say, yeah, he was the real Bill. Yeah. He was the real Bill. He was the real deal. Yeah. But don't think of Bill as just this like geezer walking around like that, staring at everyone, because he wasn't like that. Yeah. You know, people go like that because sometimes you have to go like that. You know yourself, mate, don't you?
Yeah, that's the thing certain people remember because that's all they saw.
That's all they saw.
Yeah, but if other people knew him more in depth, would see the other side. But yeah. Same with Lenny. Lenny was, like you said, he was funny as well. They had a good sense of humour. he had a sort of good side to him and all that. Give a shout out to Bill's family, by the way, Bev and Bonnie and everybody and all the family.
and all, you know. Yeah, hello Bev. Hope you're all well. I think I was at the christening of their daughter. Yeah, that was a long time. God, that's going back.
Yeah. So before you go, mate, what have you got planned for the future? Anything up and coming or?
So I'm writing something at the moment for ITV. I'm doing that. I'm going to do this YouTube channel, just talking about all little sections of, I don't know what it's about really, little sections of my life. I got asked to write a book, but I can't really read and write, so it's not a good start. No, I mean, I am better now. I was terrible at one time, but I've got a little bit better. I'm not academically very clever, so I might just sort of just tell all my bits and pieces on YouTube. Yeah, you know.
I think with that way, your character comes across with it as well. So when you tell the stories, I think that will be. I'd rather see that.
Yeah, thank you.
Because you've got you there telling it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll do that. So if we have a little, should we have a little move?
Yeah, we're going to go and have a little straightener.
Lovely. Yeah. Bucket of tea and a straightener. What more do you want?
Thank you, everyone, and look out for the video of me and Ricky having a straightener outside.
Yeah, lovely.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Can you call an ambulance?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Scenic Straighteners and Countryside Combat. For the first episode, first instalment, I'm going to actually be fighting myself against Ricky Grover, renowned actor, comedian, boxer himself.
I'll be honest, I'll just pop round for a cup of coffee.
So,
all right, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
We're going to do it bare knuckle, bare knuckle?
Yeah, any way you like. I'm up.
So you got no commitment, film commitments?
No, don't worry about
it.
it.
Oh shit. I was hoping you had some film commitments so we could get your gloves on. So this is the first instalment.
All right, lovely.
Right.
Put one up, me Derby. No, go on. Go on. Boom. Go. Right to the bottom of me.
So body shots we can obviously go better.
Help. You all right? Good, there's nothing wrong with that. Put a couple of big ones like me Derby, let me know you're there. No, proper. Go over it. Win me. That's beautiful. Go really hard, really go over it. Now you can go.
Okay.
You're being nice.
Go on.
Go on. It's beautiful.
Oh, shot.
Shot.
Fuck yeah.
Check there.
Alright, double. Lovely. 1, 2. Lovely. 1, 2, roll under right hand. Underneath. Boom. Add a left hook on the end of that one. Nice. Back in the jab. Watch out for that right underneath. 1, 2, left hook. Underneath. Body shot.
Okay.
Nice. Big right. 1, 2. Back in the jab. 4. 4, then step back. Back in the right. Jab there. Double jab. 1, 2.
Okay.
That's it. Lovely. And again. Under. Back in the jab. Jab. 1, 2, left hook to the head.
Sorry.
And again. Lovely. And again. Big right. Double jab. Body shot down there. Right to the head. 4. Big right. Well done, mate.
Can I go back to Scotland now, please? That's lovely.
Mate. Thank you everyone for watching.
Big shout out to my mate Matt. What a lovely fella.
Thank you to Ricky for coming down. Look out for more in the future. And Ricky's channel coming up as well on YouTube. Thank you.
I want to do a big shout out to my mate Norman Buckland. Norman, I'm really sorry I never saw you this time. Next time I come back down, I'll definitely get you. I was stuck on the M1.
I phoned him out, I said, you fancy a move about and a very small cup of coffee? He said, yeah. He said, yeah, lovely. Love you, Norman. See you soon. God bless you, mate.